Hello, in this video I began to show you in my ARP Kongo. It doesn't actually look like an ARP Kongo, but it is. I just switched over the Yokosuka port before I record this replay. So it looks like a regular Kongo, but it's not. You'll also notice it's still got, what's her name? Iona is the captain, or at least the captain's voice, so you know it is an ARP one. Anyway, we are on Fault Line, I believe this map is called, and I've decided that since I'm a battle cruiser, I've got the speed to get around to sea and support my team over there, which... well, I don't really like taking battleships that way because you're kind of out of the fight for a long time. I much prefer to head straight up into B if I can, or around to A if no one's going to come with me into B. And so I don't actually go over to sea very often. Actually, I don't go over to sea very often in any of my ships unless I happen to be in a destroyer on that side of the map. So I figured it's time for a change, and let's take a battleship over there. I was hoping to get a few shots on enemies as I went across, but we simply don't spot any. Well, over in sea, my allied Nicholas has pushed into the cap circle. I've just been kind of surprised by a Phoenix, an Alba, and a New York. Oh, and no, that Farragut's now to the island, but there is another enemy destroyer over there as well. A Phoenix has gone in to support it, while the Furutaka on our side is staying out to give them long-range support. Unfortunately, those two ships that are going into Captain Nicholas has just died, which means that that Phoenix is going to be under fire from, well, a lot of very powerful ships. Two heavy cruiser and a battleship in particular will just tear that Phoenix apart. Any second now. Oh, and the Farragut's coming through to engage it at short range as well. So, bad place to be, Phoenix, but to be fair, when that Phoenix turned into the channel, I don't think any of those ships were spotted. And, well, you can't really blame a person for being aggressive. Well, we're almost in position to shoot just as the Phoenix dies. But objectives now is going to be try and keep this Furutaka alive. We can almost get shots at the Alba. Oh, the Alba's moving very slow. There's a full broadside out. And it actually looks pretty good. Only one hit, but it is a Citadel and does just over 10,000 damage. AA guns start firing away at the enemy fighters, and the enemy aircraft carrier uses fighters as scouts very effectively in this game. So just a well played to the enemy carrier player. Lost contact with the Alba, but I have a good idea where it is, so I fire blind into the smoke. And I got a hit. When it pops out of the smoke soon, we'll see that the Alba did take a little bit of damage there. So, it was worth it. And unfortunately this Furutaka here is going to be, well, blocking my next broadside, so I have to delay for a few seconds while it passes in front of me. And that battleship that was coming with me is about to die to a friendly destroyer, decided to turn to B all by itself. But for now, let's just focus on the Alba. Full broadside out, and I see it's turning broadside onto me, which I assume means torpedoes are coming, so I'd start turning away. I would normally prefer to have turned into the Alba then, but I thought the Farragut was still behind it, and I didn't want to close the distance with the Farragut. I'm happy to do it with an Alba, not with the Farragut. But as soon as we start turning away, of course we see that the Farragut was also running away through the central channel, so probably should have closed the distance, but either way, this Furutaka is about to die. There we go, second Citadel penetration does 9,000 damage, and that's my first kill. So unfortunately myself and this Furutaka are fairly isolated. There's that New Mexico I mentioned earlier that turned into B all by itself, and it actually just killed the destroyer that was attacking it, but that destroyer killed it, so I suppose that's even. But as I say, myself and this Furutaka were kind of isolated over in this corner of the map. So basically, I was thinking I'd just head over to B to try and join up with my team. But I figure the main thing is actually just stick with the Furutaka and support it, keep it alive as best I can. And unfortunately the Furutaka seems to be heading into C. Fire off a bit of a speculative shot at the Farragut, but get 3 hits, 3,000 damage, so he will over-penetrate it. But the Farragut doesn't have enough hit points that it can, look at 3,000 damage as being nothing special. Yeah, the Furutaka is clearly going to C, so I decided that rather than go into B and join up with the rest of my team, I'm going to stick with this Furutaka and try and retake C. I mean, we know the Farragut's not there anymore, and that's my main concern. Just trying to get some more shots here. And the Phoenix is pulled right back as well. So it's just the New York to worry about. Obviously I missed the Farragut. And here comes some enemy torpedo bombers. And, well, these torpedo bombers actually distract me. I was actually thinking I'd just start swinging my guns around to the other broadside to engage up this channel. But then I stopped to watch these torpedo bombers, and I forget to swing my guns around at all, my rearward turrets that is. And we can see that the bombers aren't coming in towards me, and then I remember I should start getting those turrets around. And the New York has been spotted, and because I didn't start swinging those turrets early enough, I'm basically only going to be able to fire my forward turrets for a little while in this engagement. And the Furutaka takes one of those torpedoes. It's still got a bit of health left, and between the two of us we should be able to deal with this New York without too much difficulty. And it is also capturing C, and once we've captured C we'll be holding all 3 of the capture points. Just telling my air guns to focus fire on that spotter plane. Well, actually I think it's a fighter plane from the Alba, but either way it's not very important at the moment, but I did shoot it down. So we've taken C, or the Furutaka took C, and here comes the New York. Fire my forward 2 turrets, and then angle my ship in towards the New York. I don't want to turn broadside onto it. Do 6 or just under 7,000 damage, which is pretty good. And I'm kind of just waiting for the New York shots, which I'm expecting to come my way, but the New York fires away at the Furutaka and finishes off. So it's a one-on-one now, both tier 5 battleships. Basically I decided that to win this engagement I'm going to want to close the distance with the New York. We've both got the same caliber guns, but it's got much thicker armour than me. And I'm thinking at 7 kilometers range it can probably penetrate my armour, whereas I'm going to struggle to penetrate its armour. But not if I angle like that. Manage to bounce its shot. Now I start swinging my ship around to bring my turrets to bear, and it's also swinging its ship around, so I might have a good shot here. No, it stops, straightens out, but I'm still going to take the shot. Well, things are going well for us so far. Not this, well, just under 8,000 damage there, and that's when the enemy torpedo bombers show up. You also see my secondary guns are opening up, and the New Yorks will start firing at me pretty soon. I managed to bounce another main caliber shell, but unfortunately I want to turn bow onto these torpedo bombers, which means that I'm going to have to turn broadside onto the New York here. And as you can see, that's not fantastic. I was hoping I'd get away with it because I thought it had fired all its guns, but wasn't the case. Oh, and here's that Farragut showing back up. I ordered my secondary guns to focus on the Farragut briefly, while I just swing my ship right the way around to get my guns to bear again. And as my secondaries firing away at the Farragut, which we just managed to kill to get the Close Quarters Expert Award. Take another broadside from New York. That one wasn't so bad, but still we were pretty flat on. Oh, no, there we go. That was, we took 2 Citadel hits from the New York there. Did 1 Citadel hit back at it, 2 Citadel hits back on it. So while I'm down on 7,000 hit points, we've knocked it down to 3,000 hit points, and our secondaries are firing away. I start angling my ship away from the New York, and that's when the Farragut's torpedoes show up. So it's first to obviously miss me, but there are more coming in, and they don't quite reach me, which is very good. New York and I exchange fire, but the New York misses. I aimed high into the superstructure because at that point I just wanted to do any damage. I didn't want to risk a bounce, and I managed to finish off the New York. I've only got 2,500 hit points, no, actually 2,500 hit points left, so I took a bit of damage there. But we've won the fight at sea, sunk the, well, 3 enemy ships now, sunk the Alba, the New York, and the Farragut. And, well, now I've just got to get in the rest of the fight. There's 5 enemy ships left, only 3 of ours remaining. There's another battleship over on the far side of the map, and also the aircraft carriers on the far side of the map, so I am well and truly by myself with no hit points. But fortunately, one of the enemy battleships is in the centre of the map. The cruiser is that Phoenix, which is around by me somewhere, but the other one's also on the far side of the map, so I really only have the Phoenix to worry about in the short term. And of course, these torpedo bombers from the Bogue. So I've got my AA guns, they're actually focusing on the torpedo bombers, or at least they will be once the torpedo bombers come within range. And so this time I'm going to put my stern towards the bombers, mainly because that's the direction they're coming in to start with, and it also gives my anti-aircraft guns time to do as much damage as they can. But I'm not really optimistic about my chances of surviving this, to be honest. It comes in, it's a pretty good attack, but at very long range. And I keep swinging my ship around, trying to minimise the damage. I'm using my damage repair ability here to try and build some hit points up, but it doesn't actually seem necessary. I'm able to turn tightly enough to get in between the torpedoes, almost turn a bit too tight and run into this one again, but able to slow down and correct in time, and managed to dodge those torpedoes and shot down a couple of the bombers for their trouble. Unfortunately, battleships don't stop quickly, so we are going to run aground here, but we'll be able to get ourselves off this island pretty quickly. And the enemy's taken B. There was a battleship heading that way, but there was also the Phoenix unaccounted for, so I'm guessing the Phoenix has probably gone in to join up with the battleships in the centre of the map. There's the New Mexico, that's way over the far side, heading towards A, and there's the Phoenix. Fire off a broadside, and it turns. So my shells land a bit behind it to the left, whereas fortunately the Phoenix also missed me, but I'm not going to get lucky forever. I bounced a shot there. But I'm trying to get myself moving forward again so I can start using my speed to close the distance with this Phoenix. I basically have to kill it quickly before it can start any fires on me. Oops, spoke too soon. There's a fire, I put it out. Send a broadside the way of the Phoenix. Get one hit, an over-penetrating shot. So far the Phoenix is actually winning this engagement. I've done 1,000 damage to it. It just did 1,400 to me. It's probably done about 2,000 or so damage to me. But I'm closing the distance, and the closer I get, the less opportunity it's going to have to avoid my fire. And swinging the ship around, fire the forward turrets, and one citadel penetration, and with the rear turrets, 5,000 damage leaves it on 1,500 hit points. We've just come within secondary range, and my secondary guns finish it off. And here come the enemy torpedo bombers. Probably not necessary, because it looks like I'm about to burn to death. I've got 40 seconds left on the fire, and a minute before I can put it out. But I decided to dodge the torpedoes anyway, and I also use my damage repair ability, which is just enough to prevent me from dying, and it just overpowers the fire. But the damage repair ability is going to expire before the fire does. I do manage to dodge the torpedoes again with the exact same trick of turning away from them and going in between. But fortunately, the damage control ability lasts just long enough for us to win the game on points. So, here you see my ARP Kongo in its proper colour. So I got 2 close quarter expert medals in that game, and I think that's the first time I've ever actually done that. I don't really get secondary armament kills all that often. See there I did 1,700 experience, top of my team, 91,000 damage with my main caliber shells, and also another 5,000 with my secondaries. So, well, I'm sure you're all aware, well, if you've been watching the channel for a while, that I decided when I got my ARP Kongo that I'm going to try and make the secondary guns as awesome as I can. And as you can see, it's starting to pay dividends. It's twice it finished off enemy ships that were probably going to cause a bit of trouble for me. And I also did very well against that New York, I think, against the Alba. So yeah, I actually really like this Kongo. It's a much better ship than I remembered it. I don't play it very often because I keep forgetting that I have it because I don't leave myself in the Yokosuka port very often. But still, I should play it more often. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.